So, couple of things. I wanted to get into some player grades, as I'm going to bring up the board here. As you see, I'm in this small camera, and now I'm going to be in this camera. So, these are my player grades and coach grades for the 2022-23 Philadelphia Flyers. A lot to kind of dissect here. I didn't write a single thing down in my notebook on this segment. All I have is these letters and different things. I'm just going to kind of go through them one by one. We'll kind of just, kind of break it down. I think it's pretty obvious who the A's are. You have TK, Tippett, Hart, Frosty, Cates, Sammy Urson, York, Risto. I think it's pretty clear that those guys were the A's. Again, TK, monster season for him. Tippett, again, really, really good season overall. Again, a lot of these you can kind of put into different things. I'm curious, what does everybody in the chat think about my grades here? Are they fair? Are they not fair? Is there something you would disagree with? Again, I also, take into consideration with the coaches as well. There's only a handful of D's, and a lot of it went off of games and games played at the same time, so keep that in mind. Like, example, Adam Getting played one game, so that's why he has a B, because I thought he had a pretty good game. So there's different things as well. Same thing with Rodney Adder, played 2 games. So, for this season and for this overall year, this is kind of where I'm at. The last year I did the tier maker. I figured I'd make this for the pod here. Dank, I think that's fair. Forrester B+. I think that's fair. I try to kind of keep it, pretty similar in the sense of trying to be fair at the same time with also not trying to kind of take away. I thought a B was fair, but I understand your argument for B+. He pretty much was an A in most of those games. And again, just the scoring and all of that stuff. I think for a lot of this list, again, McEwen, it's probably the best rating for a guy like McEwen, right? I mean, he can't go really any higher than that. He can't go really any lower. I thought McEwen played well, though. It's not like a bad rating. I like Zamula. There were some moments where I would have liked him to stand out a little more consistency. Farabee obviously was a little up and down. Wade Allison, same thing. I mean, up and down. Van Riemsdyk, again, Owe Lixel, there were moments where I thought he stood out, and there also were some moments that, he wasn't as great, there were some games where Lixel looked good, and then there were some games where he was just kind of invisible. So I think a lot of that stuff is just growing pains too. Patrick Brown, Zinski, Willman, Lemieux. I feel like nobody can really argue this a C grade for those guys. It's pretty fair. I agree with Briere on Exit Day. He basically said, Lemieux had a good chunk of games and all of that stuff. Dank, I'm gonna get to Sedlak in a minute. I really thought that Lemieux had a good start, but once he kind of the games kept going along, he was very unnoticeable. And again, it's different. You're coming over from a playoff team to a non-playoff team. You're going from Todd McClellan to John Tortorella. There's a huge dip, change and just dip. And, I think for Lemieux, it kind of ebbed and flowed. But I thought overall, I think he definitely deserved a chance. I would re-sign him if they do. They're going to talk about it. Hayes, I think everybody kind of understands, why Hayes is a C-. I talked about it before. I liked, his offensive production. I thought his defensive production in the beginning of the season was bad, and I thought towards the end of the year he just gave up. And I thought it was pretty clear on the ice that he gave up. Sandstrom, I hated doing this grade for Sandstrom. I like Sandstrom a lot. And I kind of feel bad saying a C-, but it's just, that's kind of where I'm at. He had some real good games. He had some not so good games. I felt like there were some games for Sandstrom where it was they probably should have won for him. I think like, just keeping it on the forwards a little bit, Bellows, he just didn't really impress me that much. Sedlak, I give Sedlak the D because he just left. Like, he probably, like, he would have been a C+ if he stayed, but he left mid-season. Like, he just left, and it was like, all right, he's going home. So, I'm like, how can I give a guy a higher grade if he just leaves? So that's kind of why I gave Sedlak a D, because it's not like I didn't thought he played bad. I thought he was great, but he left. So, like, again, how can I give a guy a higher grade for that? Jackson Cates, I mean, he didn't really show much. Hodgson, you know, he played one game and he was pretty putrid, but he is a very valuable piece to the Phantoms, I'll say that. And I'm talking about the Phantoms. So, again, I got the jersey on. Watch party tonight for the Phantoms as well here on the channel. Game 1, round 1, Charlotte Checkers. Going to be fun. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, the defense. You know, again, like, I gave Ginning the B. I gave Zamula the C+. Yeah, I mean, not really much changed, you know, with the D. I mean, I think I thought York was their best defenseman. Ristolainen, again, you know, and another A. Sealer B+, played great. I thought Provorov B+, I thought he played good for everything that kind of went on throughout the year with Provy. D'Angelo, he's a C. I mean, I can't give him a B. I like the offensive production. I didn't really like the defense. Do I think there's room to work there? Yes. Do I think everybody understands it? Yes. It's just kind of where I'm at with Tony. Justin Braun, C+. And, you know, I really wanted to give Braun a B, but I'm like, he didn't play that much. And at the same time, like, he's Justin Braun. You know what I mean? Like, the defense was Yandel level. Last year, I think my gradings, I forget my grades last year, but I think Yandel got an F because he was that bad. I think I gave him an F. I don't remember that. I'd have to go back and look. Sanheim, I gave him a D. I mean, Sanheim, similar offensive production, a couple assists off, same amount of goals, but it wasn't consistent enough for my liking. Is on a pretty bad term contract. Money-wise, it's fine. And just, I would like to see more from him. You know, he doesn't really show much for me, you know. Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, D'Angelo was just as bad defensively as Yandel. He scored a ton more. I don't know. I mean, I think it's fair in the sense of, like, him scoring. I think the offensive rate of him scoring is fine. Defensively, I don't think he's as bad as Yandel. I think we can all agree that Yandel was quite literally putrid. I don't think D'Angelo was that bad, because the difference with D'Angelo and Yandel was consistently, like, shit. Like, he was bad for the entire season. D'Angelo was good for a little bit, would kind of ebb and flow, and then everything kind of just went really bad. Howard, I think that's fair on Sealer. I understand where you're coming from, because, again, I thought he played well too. I just really liked York. I like first of all, I think I liked York too because he played more minutes. You know, he played first pair, and he played on the opposite side of where he usually is supposed to play. So there's that too. I think it's fair. You know, I'm curious what everybody kind of thinks on the coaches. You know, I gave Torts an A because of the roster, and I think he's kind of managed this really well. Shaw, I gave a B. I know the PK hasn't been great, but I think defensively he's turned around guys like Ristolainen, guys like Sealer, right? York played really well, like Provorov. Like, there's different things. Rocky Thompson, I gave a C+, and you know, because really the power play, because the power play wasn't good. it had some okay moments. It wasn't really that great for any of the season at really any point. I think, you know, It's tough. I mean, it's tough to say because I do like Thompson. I think there's some things that you can. I think there's some things with Thompson that you can like. I think the overall setup of the power play is okay. Um, yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, I think I more went towards a positive grade for him because I think of the way he kind of handled the end of the season. He had, he just came out and said it, and that's kind of, and look, I get it. It's only a 1 game thing, but that's important when you can call out a certain type of, just call out the guys, and that's important to me. So I understand, again, the power play wasn't great, but I do think there were some okay moments from it, but just overall, it was just bad. It needs to be better next year. I agree. If it doesn't get any better next year, I don't understand how you can keep Rocky Thompson, because how? Like, it wasn't good for the entire year. Frost, again, I gave an A. I really liked Frost for most of the season. Everybody knows how I feel about Morgan Frost. Everybody knows. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with the way he ended his season. I think there was a lot of good things from it. Noah Cates, I gave an A. Very good defensively. He's up there in Selke voting. He's up there in goals as a rookie or points as a rookie. Excuse me. Delorier, I gave a B. I mean, for his role, for the locker room stuff and what he provides off the ice for this team, perfectly fine with Nick Delorier. Scott Lawton, I gave a B. I really do like Lawton. I like a lot of what he does. I think I really like Lawton because he loves to be a Flyer. And we need a lot of guys who want to be Flyers. We don't really have, and again, I don't want to make it like we don't have any guys that don't love being here. I'm not saying that. I just think it's very clear, and he's not the only one. Like, you see it with Frost, you see it with Tippett, you see it with DK. Like, there's many other guys. Like, there's a really important aspect of Lawton's game that he kind of brings. But again, I feel like, like, there's so many different things that are going to be changing this year. Swap Lemieux and McEwen. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I'm trying to find where Lemieux is on the board, and I just lost it. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. See, I really liked McEwen. I thought he played well up until he got hurt, and then obviously he was supposed to come back and then got traded. So unfortunately, that's kind of where it happened. Unfortunately, where it kind of just fell apart. But again, I wanted to mention the Phantoms tonight, as I'm trying to. Here we go. I almost lost the paper for the Phantoms here. So again, these are my playoff grades. My player grades for the year. I'm getting a little too excited.